And early today, I spoke with the Minister of Culture and Sports, Hili, Tropper, a candidate on the Defense Minister Benny Gantz's National Unity election list, and one of his closest political allies, about that agreement with Lebanon and the debate over it, about the security situation in the West Bank, and of course, the prospects for both his party and Gantz's own chances of rising to the premiership with the November 1st vote now less than a month away. Let's take a listen. Minister of Culture and Sports, Hili Tropper, thank you for joining us on i24 News.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Let's begin with this agreement with Lebanon on the maritime border, the gas agreement. What do you say to those critics who argue that Israel conceded too much in these negotiations? And will this agreement be brought for approval to the full Knesset?
First of all, the procedure where it reaches the Knesset or not is up to the AG, and we will do what we're required to do. As for the agreement itself, I think that everyone needs to put politics aside. The agreement, at the end of the day, is a good agreement. Did we get all of our demands? No. I do not know a negotiation in which everybody gets everything they want. But do our main demands, were they accepted? Yes. And there is a consensus around this with the security officials in the cabinet who think this is an excellent agreement, and it's good that we didn't miss on this opportunity.
I want to move to the security situation, both because your party leader, Benny Gantz, is defense minister, and you yourself have extensive military experience in the West Bank. Does the government have control of the security situation now in the West Bank and East Jerusalem? What more should it be doing?
I think we should not exaggerate. There's no situation of loss of control. Are we dealing with terror? Yes. This started before the State of Israel. We need some proportions. I do not undermine the fact that there is terror here and we need to fight it. And you ask us what we're doing. Every recommendation of the security officials were accepted. There is no recommendation that we refuse to. Last night, tonight, the Israeli soldiers are operating inside Jenin. There is no refuge. Wherever there is terror, this is where we are. This is where we will fight. There's no magic solution. I don't think anyone has a magic solution. Some people hate us, and what we know is to fight them.
All right, I want to go to the election now, less than a month away. Your party, which had been the Blue and White, then did a merger with Gideon Sa'ar. It's now the National Unity Party. You brought in Gadi Eisenkot, a former chief of staff. But if you look at the polls, you haven't gained anything. Are the results disappointing? Why do you feel you haven't been able to gain additional seats?
Even now, in most surveys, we're the third largest party, and Benny Gantz is our candidate for prime minister. We have less than a month to work hard and to get a better result. Of course, we want more, and as we bring a better result, there is a greater chance of Benny Gantz assembling the government and bringing stability here. A lot of Israelis, from right and from left, what they want is some stability. The only candidate between Netanyahu, Lapid, and Gantz who is able to form a coalition is only Benny Gantz, and therefore the experience and the security experience, the only answer is Benny Gantz.
But clearly we just had a government where the prime minister had only 7 seats, and that turned out to be unstable. Didn't lasted just a year. How could a prime minister with a party with 12 seats, 13 seats, why would that be any more stable?
We need to wait for the results. In the previous elections, they said we will not pass the threshold, and we finished with 8 mandates and the second largest party in the coalition, and therefore 13 mandates is true for today. But we will speak in 20 days, and with God willing, the results will be better. Being a prime minister with 6 or 7 mandates is not relevant. relevant. We want large legitimacy. And therefore I say to all the Israelis who look for something central that is stable to vote for Benny Gantz. I believe we will grow over time. In order to form a government, you need a lot of mandates and also the ability to put parties together. Lapid doesn't have this possibility. We don't want Netanyahu to have this possibility, and then all you have left is Benny Gantz.
I want to talk specifically about those parties you think you could bring in and Yair Lapid can. You're referring probably to the religious parties, the ultra-Orthodox parties, but there are members of your party, you yourself, Matan Kahana, who have tried to make big changes in the way religion and state are conducted in Israel. What kind of compromises would you make to bring in the ultra-Orthodox parties under Benny Gantz as prime minister?
We still believe in our actions, those that Matan Kahana led in the previous government, and will continue to do this. This is clear, and I'm realistic. When you start a coalition and you bring in ultra-Orthodox parties, you cannot do everything that you want, but you also do not give in on everything you believe in. How will the negotiations end? We need to wait and see. But in order to be in a position to hold the negotiations, that we are able to form the government, we need to work hard and bring as many people to vote for us.
Benny Gantz says he will not join in a government with Benjamin Netanyahu, even if he would be the first in a rotation in that. But is that really preferable to going to another round of elections if it comes to that?
We tried to sit with Netanyahu once, and we wanted the companionship, and at the end of the day, the political interests were more important than those of the country. I could have spoken to you from a position in which Benny Gantz was prime minister right now. We had these proposals. We do not want a government to be under Netanyahu, but a government that would prevent the return of Netanyahu.
Let me ask you about yourself. You have extensive military experience. You are made your name as an educator in the field of education. Where do you see your political future in the next government? What ministry would you like? Not that sports and culture is not a pleasant office to occupy.
First of all, I like the sports and culture. And I learned not to plan ahead. There is a much greater task for the state of Israel. We are inside a fifth election campaign, no stability, no budget. These are the main missions, and I suggest to every one of us to move aside these personal issues. I'm only focused on this mission.
One last question. On a personal level, you've accepted Ukrainian refugees, I believe, even in your own home. Should the state of Israel be bringing in more Ukrainians, refugees as needed?
Yes, I think that the Jewish part here, we cannot close our eyes and our pockets when there is so much suffering. I'm taking care of these families since they came here, people that lost almost everything. The father is still there. I do not believe that in the Jewish and in the moral world you can close your heart. And also, this is not about hundreds of thousands that will come here and hurt the Jewish identity of the state of Israel. The state of Israel is strong enough to be part of the world struggle of helping a nation in need.
Well, maybe if you would be Minister of the Interior in the next government, you could change that policy. Okay, Hili Tropper, now Minister of Culture and Sport and member of the National Unity List. Thank you for joining us on i24 News.